If I put this next to my miniature, is it 6 wounds taken or 6 wounds remaining? Welcome back to Lizard of Doom, I am Max. Whether you like it or not, some things have a correct way round. This is a very important one. Animals. Another hotly contested one is D&D. The little number goes in the bottom and your plus goes in the top, okay? Heh, nice. So there must be a correct way to do this in Warhammer, and there is. So if you're playing 40K, you can check in the app and you can see on big things like a Chaos Knight, it says wounds remaining. So if you are playing 40K, you should put down wounds remaining. So say it has 20 wounds. You've taken 6 wounds. So you should have 14 displayed on that miniature to say that it is on 14 wounds left. However, this changes when you are playing Age of Sigmar. If you are to check something big on Age of Sigmar, like a big demon, you'll scroll down and see the wounds table for its abilities says wounds suffered. So to make this easier, you should track your wounds in Age of Sigmar as wounds suffered. If you've got 20 wounds on something and you take 4 wounds, you'll put 4 next to it. Now this is a little bit confusing to do like either way, so I'm going to come up with an easy kind of design for something small that I can use on the table to show my opponent and myself which way I'm going tracking my wounds. So most people mark wounds like this. You've got your little character or monster or tank or something with multiple wounds on the table. And then, oh no, it takes 2 wounds. You put those wounds next to it. But then you roll for your next attack and accidentally roll a little bit too close to that wounds dice. And oh no, I got a couple of hits there, but now what's the wound dice? Was he on 2 wounds? We went on 4, was he? It could have been 3. It might have been 2. Oh no, what do we do? So it would be useful to have a little widget that stopped that as well, because if I'm marking with my dice, and I do use 2 coloured dice for this reason and for other reasons in the game, it's useful to have multiple colours of dice when you're playing. But it does occasionally happen, and then you have to agree with your opponent. I think he was on 6 wounds, what do you think? And that's not ideal, so having something little that you could roll your dice and it would hit up against and not mess the dice up would be useful, as well as having something clear to say whether we're counting up or down. And that brings me to the sponsor of this video. I'm going to be using the Creality Falcon 2 to make myself something little and useful, a little gaming aid, a little widget. Creality and the Falcon 2 laser engraver are one of the biggest supports this channel has. I've done many things with them on this channel and made a bunch of terrain, so today I thought I'd make you something different. In the past I have made some fantastic 40k terrain, and in fact the last video I made on the channel was some lovely jungle terrain for my Apes of Rage. The Falcon's 22 watt laser that I have here is fantastic, quick and efficient, and it always does the job. I've never had any problems with this laser engraver. It produces some beautiful stuff, and I'm really happy to have this on my tabletop at home. So if you are interested in one as well, there are links down in the description that do give a little bit of kickback to me and help support this channel. Thank you, Creality Falcon 2. Let's get on with this video. So I've got my dice. I need to design something that they go in to hold them in place so we know exactly which one is the wound dice. So if I measure quickly, ignore that mark. It's not coming off. It's not coming off. Cut the camera. Cut the camera, please. So if we measure the dice, we'll find that it is about 12, 13. It's hard to measure on the end because of that metal bit. Yes, about 12 millimeters across my dice are. So I'm going to go with 13, just so there's a little bit of wiggle room and a little bit of safety when I'm doing the designs. That extra millimeter will make me feel a bit better. So I jumped over to Lightburn and drew a little square and made it 13 mil. That was going to be the basis to hold the dice in this. I was going to put 2 because, you know, things have more than 10 wounds, so double figures are needed. I don't know if there's anything triple figures. Let me know in the comments if you do know of anything triple figures in Warhammer. I don't think there is. After that, I made a little box to put around them and line them up nice and snug with each other. I've got the basis of a very simple little widget to put on the board. I needed to make sure we knew exactly what it was pointing at. So I thought I'd draw a little square, turn it sideways so it was a triangle, and connect it to the top. This would form like a little arrow that would be easy to denote whose wound that is, because now we can point the widget at something on the board and know exactly who's taken those 2 wounds. This is really easy to do. Just drag the square over the top and then make sure it is lined up exactly on the corner. There we go, that's looking pretty good. Select them all and turn it into one shape. Easy peasy, nice little widget, and we just put some words on here so we know exactly what it is. And for each game system we could put wounds suffered or wounds remaining, depending on whether we're playing 40K or Age of Sigmar. I picked this typeface. I would later change it because I thought the distressed style of it would work really nicely and look cool, but it would be not so legible that small, so I'd change it for something a little bit more simpler so we could read it when it was small and on the table. Now we've got a really basic widget designed. This is it. I'm going to do a little bit of branding to it, make it a Lizard of Doomy, but the way I was going to do this is put these 2 back to back so we had a double-sided widget, so I can use one in both games and just flip them over. To do this, I'd put a little bit of wood in the middle that would be the same size, so it would be one thing and the dice would sit on the middle bit of wood. You get what I mean. I slapped the Lizard of Doom logo on there and positioned it at the top in blue to engrave it, and then put it on every bit of wood that would be facing outwards. And there we go, there's the centerpiece there too. Perfect. Just change the words to blue so they engrave as well, not cut out. And I also designed this little gaming widget, this little combat widget with a 1-inch square at the top, a 2-inch square at the bottom, and because 1-inch square at the top, 2-inch square at the bottom, that meant that this side was 3 inches, so my own little combat gauge. While I was there as well, I thought I may as well make some objective markers. I haven't got any and I've just been using whatever's at hand, so now I have 6 perfect little Lizard of Doom objective markers. Easy peasy, 40mm circles with the logo in the middle. Nice. Time to fire up the Falcon. Punch it, Chewie. That was probably really crap. It sounded good in my head. Widget made, and it was perfect. Not too big, it'd take up too much room on the table, and it'd be obvious who it was pointing at with that little pointy bit on the top there. So if I put some dice in there, do they fit? Perfect. Lovely, 12 wounds on this Riptide. I didn't just cut one out though. No. I cut a lot out. I cut enough out to play an entire game and mark wounds on every character, every monster, every vehicle, everything that needed it. I cut loads of these out. It took 2 A4 sheets of MDF and I finally had enough. I thought that would be, reasonable for an entire game. But also, they look like a little town of houses with this giant robot stomping through them. I also cut one out for command points to keep on my board edge so I can track that, and one out for blood tithe points for the Khorne army I am currently making. I rattle canned them gold with some Retributor gold and then brought out the black oil paint. This was going to go in all the bits there, like we do with the dice when they paint the dots on. So I splodged it all around, and because I'm using oil paint, it's then quite easy to remove. I can be as messy as I want putting this on. And I'm going to make a mess because I just bash things about really quickly and don't think about what I'm doing most of the time. But funnily enough, this worked. There we go, nice little stained bits there. I would let it dry for a bit more and then I would give it another clean with some more white spirits. Essentially the same premise as doing an oil wash on a miniature. But it wasn't really a wash, I didn't water it down, this was just pure oil paint. I also did the sides because I felt they looked a bit weird in gold and this needed framing. There we have my blood tithe points and command points one, completely done. And we are ready to get some games in with our new gaming and wound widgets. The Lizard of Doom little objective markers are looking good as well. They're going to be nice scattered around the board. You're not going to miss them. They're nice and bright and gold. And of course the little combat gauge too. easy to use, easy to measure stuff, you know, 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, easy peasy. Quick, simple design, but very, very useful. And now there is going to be no mistaking whether I'm playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar or 40k, who is on what wounds. So thank you to my Patreons, they'll be displayed here now. If you would like to join, there's going to be the link up here now, shablam, and everyone who joins that really helps support the channel. I bought a Dremel recently, which will be very useful in some of the kit bashes and stuff I've got coming out soon on the channel. So thank you to my patrons for helping me get that as part of the kit that I will use on the channel. Everything they have ever given to me goes back into the channel. The same with any sponsors I've had so far. So the Creality Falcon 2 laser engraver has sponsored a bunch of videos. Check their links out down below there as well and have a little look if you're thinking about getting one yourself. Leave a like for the like god and leave a comment for the algorithm throne. Subscribe, Dave. Yeah, you specifically, Dave. Statistically, that should get a few. Maybe. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, it is not a pile of shame, it is a pile of fun. See you next time, kids. Peace.